All right, last one before Grammys. I need to get this review out. It's been a long time coming. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the debut album, Black Pumas, released by Black Pumas. This is what I have found to be described as a psychedelic soul band. This is, I buy into that based on the sounds that I heard. It also reminded me a little bit of some other musicians I've recently listened to, kind of going within the blues rock realm or just kind of the laid-back rock. Kieran Bin is one of the bands that I thought of when listening to this music, as well as Aaron Fraser. So they all kind of have something that's connecting them all, despite the fact that I would definitely say I think they're aiming to go for different niche genres. And the reason I'm finally getting to this album, despite the original being released back in 2019, the deluxe version is nominated for Album of the Year, which was released last year. I'm still trying to understand how that works for the Grammy rules for nominations like that. Their rules aren't exactly super set in stone, which is one of the few things that the Grammys really you gotta nail this. It's a little awkward. Despite that, I had a surprisingly mostly positive experience with this album. The first time I listened to it, I knew I liked the music, but I wasn't really loving it for some reason. But determined as I was to be able to get this review out to you, I really just, said, all right, we're gonna get down, we're gonna try and pay attention and figure out what is it that makes this album tick for so many other people. And by the end, I started finding more favor with this album. I know that the instrumentation is already something that I definitely liked. It's just, is everything else that makes the music what it is connecting with me? Lyrically, maybe the switch ups in its creativity. Wasn't really sure, but now I'm confident that I know what I want to say. Now, I am going to try and explain this album kind of as its original along with its deluxe, so just pay attention and I'll explain the details as clearly as I can. The first 10 tracks in here I am enjoying, but it isn't until the very last 3 where I'm like, all right, this is leading to a high note. I like where this is going. It's just tapping into the additional elements that the album should have in order to get its listener engaged. A great example of that is the song Confines. Vocally, I enjoy the emphasis that it gives to the word merrily in here. And at the very, very, very end, it has some very nice strings that kind of just lead out to it. The phrase leaving on a high note for this particular song is true to the phrase, but it's also interesting because the high note isn't really loud. It's just kind of easing into it. But because those additional strings are included in here, it's like, yeah, all right, I get what the point was. Pulling up my notes here, I want to mention a couple of interesting things that they included. The song October 33rd, or 33, just however you read it, it's got a really cool acoustic desert vibe. That's kind of what this album really feels like. It feels like this album was meant to be played at a particular era in Las Vegas. I feel like I'm finding a lot of music like that. I don't know why I got Las Vegas on the brain recently. In addition, for that comment, for the same song, it's got a super heavy guitar solo. It's easy playing. It's not like rocking out to some complicated kind of solo. It's playing pretty simple notes, but it's really emphasized, really loud. The production wanted to let you know, hey, this is a solo! The fourth track in here is titled Fire. This is one of those examples where the right amount of extra energy was just given here. I appreciated that. I was like, all right, I have to note that because it's there. Similar to my Times review I just did, I do feel like there are small moments where several songs in here could have used an additional element, and I do say this about other songs depending on the album. I'm just using that as the most recent example. The song Stay Gold has an echoey guitar effect in there. I thought that was worth noting. The song Touch the Sky has a moment where it sounds like, I think it's a trumpet along with a tenor saxophone. I want to make sure I got that right, but it sounds like it's that kind of saxophone in there. In addition to that, you're kind of noticing that the drums have a very particular special spot in here, along with the tambourine. It's like, yeah, that can stand out, but it really did to me in this song. So that kind of leads into a basic analysis of the original album. Really liked it. And then we get an additional 11 tracks. Kind of. I would say the first 4 definitely have something worth striving for the most. It feels like they were very purposeful in being added for this version of the album. I think the best example you can get out of this is the track Fast Car, which is technically a cover from Tracy Chapman. After that, they decided to do 3 live studio versions of their original songs and 1 live version. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that, especially since it's just added into the deluxe version. It's just that sometimes I feel like artists try to reserve those for actual live albums. I don't dislike it, but I don't really love it either. It's just a personal nitpick. When you try to see like how much are you trying to add on to the songs that we already listened to at the beginning of this album. It's just, you know, some people are going to like it. Some people are going to be like, well, I don't want to hear the same song I just listened to unless it's like really remixed in there. And then in addition to that, songs like Politicians in My Eyes, this one was just kind of too cluttered around the end. I was like very distracted by how much they were trying to be like, oh, we're just going to explode everything that we're going to include in here. That was too distracting. And for some reason, I didn't really care that much for their cover of Eleanor Rigby. I don't know, I didn't attach myself with it for some reason. So what are my thoughts overall for the idea of having this as a deluxe album? Well, if I'm being honest, I think my percentages are slightly lower in the deluxe version. However, I would say that it still has the same feeling of the type of recommendation I would give the album, because I can tell that they're still using the idea of whatever creative juices that they were using, but some of the songs were not pulled off as much with the right execution. Despite that, it's not like the original version and the deluxe version are very far apart from each other. They're actually pretty close. But if I had to choose purchasing one of them, I would probably go with the original one. And then if I wanted to listen to some of the other songs, I would probably just stream them, something like that. So after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production a B+, creativity a B-, expression and lyrics a B+. And how would I recommend this album? I'm going to give it a yeah/good. Personally, I do think this album will grow on me gradually. There are plenty of elements in here that I would say are things that normally I would be much more drawn into. But I feel like I'm slightly kept at bay for one reason or another. I feel like maybe I haven't really experienced Black Puma's personal identity quite yet, as much as I have experienced what it is exactly this particular genre is going for. I would think that's probably the biggest key. Black Pumas did a good job, but I am trying to understand really who they are still. So I'm going to go with the idea that that's the biggest mark for the divided opinion right there. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description below, and be sure to leave a like for the video as well as a comment down below if you want to engage with me. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time. I want to get to anywhere, maybe we can make it.